Welcome to the Japan Reach podcast, the podcast where we explore the world of Japan and what makes it such an amazing place. Konnichiwa, everyone, and welcome to another Japan Reach podcast brought to you by Japan Reach, reaching the Japanese people one relationship at a time. The team here at Japan Reach has traveled extensively in Japan and have a lot of experience with Japanese people and Japanese culture. This podcast will explore fun things that we have uncovered during our journeys, and we will bring in guests to talk about their experiences and how they got interested in Japan. I hope you'll enjoy. When we think of long-running kings and queens, we often think of the United Kingdom. I think we focus on the British royal family because it's been around for 1,000 years. Of all of the royal families on the planet, they are the drama kings and queens. Most people know that Japan has been ruled by a royal family for a long time, but they're often surprised to know that it was established over 2,600 years ago. That's hundreds of years before Jesus was born, and more than twice the length of the time that the British royals have ruled the United Kingdom. To that end, Japan has the oldest hereditary monarchy in the world. So let's dive into a little history about the Japanese royal family. You may have heard of the divine right of kings. This is a theory introduced by kings, no surprise, that says they get their authority to reign from God, and because of that, any rebellions against the king is a rebellion against God. If you are a king, this is a pretty convenient theory. After all, who wants to go up against God? But this is where the Japanese monarchs have won up on the European divine right crowd. Around 711 BC, the sun goddess Amaterasu gave birth to a cute little tyke she named Jimu. He was also related to other gods, and this of course made him a little god. The best part is there is proof. When Amaterasu sent Jimu to pacify Japan, she gave him 3 celestial gifts: the sword of Kusanage, the mirror Yata no Kagami, and the jewel Yasakani no Magatama. These 3 gifts signify that the emperor is the descendant of Amaterasu herself. By the way, no one has ever seen these gifts, although they are supposedly kept by Shinto priests for special occasions. Interestingly enough, in Japan the word for God is kami, and the emperors of Japan were called kami up until the end of the Second World War, when the mantle of godhood was removed as a condition of Japan's surrender to the United States. Now, the Japanese emperors are just humans, like the rest of us. Let's step back and talk about the roles of the emperor throughout history. Jimu was a powerful warrior king, and he established and expanded the empire during his reign. He was crowned emperor on February 11th in the year 660 BC. And that is the day they celebrate National Foundation Day in Japan. While it's true that Jimu was a powerful emperor, the power of his descendants have varied considerably. Perhaps to bolster their power, the emperors claimed to be in contact with the gods, but even at that, it didn't necessarily translate into political power. Their power was going to take a significant beating in the 10th century when an elite samurai class took the leadership reins from the emperor for nearly 1,000 years. To that end, Japan's emperors were figureheads with little authority. But all that changed during the Meiji Restoration when the emperor moved from Kyoto, the seat of Japanese empire for 1,000 years, to Tokyo. At the same time, the shogunate, all those elite samurais, ended, and the emperor went from symbol to imperial powerhouse. The next few decades, the emperors of Japan would oversee a complete overhaul of the Japanese military and institutional structures, an expansion of the empire to include parts of China, Korea, Southeast Asia, the Philippines, and much more. However, in 1941, the then Emperor Hirohito made a big mistake. Japan had been on a winning streak, and the empire had been expanding, but the United States was standing in the way, and the military powers wanted to take the USA down. The emperor agreed, Pearl Harbor was bombed, and 4 years later, Japan was ground zero for the first military use of the atomic bomb. After World War II, the United States forced Emperor Hirohito to renounce any connection to divinity, sorry Jimu, but also enshrined the emperor in Japanese law as a symbolic figurehead only. On an interesting note, the current imperial family now has only 18 members, and by law, the succession prohibits female members from inheriting the throne, although there were points in history where there were female empresses. Add to that, many of the imperial family's female members have married commoners, very wealthy commoners, in an exodus of royals. This means that there are only 3 potential heirs to the throne. The Japanese government has been tasked with coming up with solutions for what is seen as a growing crisis. After all, what would happen if the 3 male members of the royal house vanished? What would happen to the royal house? I will say that Japan is a resourceful and resilient country, and they're going to come up with something. Today, the Imperial House of Japan has a symbolic role, but no executive or military power within the Japanese state. Even so, the monarchy has traditional significance, and the people of Japan do love their emperor. So that is a 2,600-year history of the emperors of Japan, summarized in 5 minutes. I hope you've had as much fun listening as I've had telling this story. Join us next time when we discuss another interesting topic about Japan. God bless and matane.